What's up, guys? How you doing? Chris here today, and we're going to be looking at extending the harmony even further with a new chord quality today, the dominant 7 chord. Just like before, I'm going to assume, once again, that you've been doing your homework and you've been paying attention to intervals and functions against root notes. So, dominant chord, what exactly is that? How is that built? Well, what we have, if we take a look at that, what we have with that is basically a major triad with a flat 7. Now, just like before, we can take something like this and we can most definitely superimpose other arpeggios with it. And as I always state from before, this is just a means of organization for some go-to ones. You can totally superimpose other types of arpeggios with this. Maybe I'll do something down the line illustrating that. But for right now, we're going to go interval by interval and talk about, as usual, not only what the arpeggio is, but also how it functions within this chord. All right, let's take a look. So right off the bat, one of the first things you can do with this, as usual, is that you can play the standard arpeggio. So in this case, we'd have root, third, fifth, and flat 7. That would form our G dominant 7 arpeggio. Now, if we look at the third interval here, what we can get out of that is what's known as a minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio. Okay, in this case, this would be a B minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio. So as an aside to this is why you can do something pretty cool with this. You can get that dominant 7 sound by playing a B minor 7 flat 5 chord. It's essentially the same thing. Now, if you want to get a little bit more interesting, you can definitely imply a G7 flat 9 if you play a B diminished 7 chord. So it's just a little interesting thing to decide, but let's just talk about the B minor 7 flat 5 here. What you're getting out of that is the third, the fifth. You are then getting the flat 7, and then you are now getting the 9. So now we take this and it becomes a dominant 7 with a 9 in it. Okay, so we're extending the harmony as usual. If you haven't noticed the pattern yet, by all means, go back to my other videos. You're going to start really seeing how this is working. So we get over nice and easy. So if we look at the fifth now, against that G, or the third note in the arpeggio of a G dominant 7, what we're going to get out of this is a minor 7 arpeggio. All right, so something that's quite interesting about this is that you're getting an 11th interval. If you remember from the major 7 superimposing video, I said that if you have an 11 or a 4th, you have to handle it with care. The same sort of rule applies with a dominant 7 chord. It still has a third in it, but with dominant chords, we really like to have tension and release with this a lot more than necessarily a major 7 chord. We can get away with a lot. So something like this where you're getting that 11th interval. You can kind of get away with kind of sticking a little bit more with it, but again, try to use your ears. Your ears are king always, always. So what this is a D minor 7 arpeggio, like I said, which has a root, a flat 3, the 5, and then of course the flat 7. Now the function of that against that chord, like I said, is you now have a dominant 11th arpeggio here. So what that means, you should always remember when you're extending harmony with this, that you're still including the previous extension with it. So the 9 is still there. So against this G, what we have, 5th, flat 7, the 9, and the 11. You can really hear that sounds kind of quite nice with that. It's worth checking out. Now, of course, finally we have the flat 7 here. And what we're going to get out of that is a major 7 arpeggio, okay? So in this instance, what we're getting out of that is an F major 7 arpeggio, which is going to give you the 13th interval, which would sound kind of like this as a chord. So again, what the major 7 has on its own is a root, 3rd, 5th, and then major 7. Against this G, what it's going to contain is the flat 7, the 9, the 11, and the 13. Alright, so you essentially have this nice, easy way to organize arpeggios against this dominant chord here. And as usual, if you can find different places to play them, you're going to be in good hands. And you're going to sound quite interesting. I would recommend trying these out with maybe lines out of time, rubato, and see how you could connect maybe superimposed arpeggios from one chord type to the next chord type. Maybe something like a 2-5-1 would be a great thing to use. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So this is all the time I have for this video today. Rather quick one because we've been building this from the minor chord quality, the major chord quality, and that the dominant 7 chord quality. What I'm looking to do next, maybe with this topic, is looking at pentatonics next and seeing how we can superimpose pentatonic scales with chord types. So if you have any suggestions for content you might want to see, or any questions or discussion you'd like to have, please put it down in the comments below. As usual, please like, comment, subscribe. Keeps the channel going, keeps the channel alive. Hit the bell notification icon if you want to stay up to date. But that's all the time I have, so I will see you in the next video. Take care.